So, Dan Mitchell, what are your thoughts? Is it Donald Trump or is it the statistics that are out of touch?
Well, there's no question Donald Trump seems to have a very clever political instinct, a lot more cunning about what resonates with people than I would have thought a year ago and what most people would have thought. I mean, heck, he got elected, and nobody expected that. But on this issue of the economy and jobs, if you look at the labor force participation, it's not really older workers that have dropped out, it's younger workers. And I don't know that a lot of it is because people are extending their studies, or maybe they're extending their studies just because the job market hasn't been that strong. So I'm all in favor of the right kind of stimulus, but we have to define that. If we mean by stimulus what Obama did in 2009, where the government wastes a bunch of money and you don't get anything good out of it, that I'm not in favor of. On the other hand, if what Trump is doing is saying, I'm going to get government out of the way, I'm going to give permits for the private sector to build pipelines, I'm going to lower the corporate tax rate so there's more incentive to create jobs, that's the good kind of stimulus. And so it's really critical to focus in on whether he's making government a bigger burden or is he getting government out of the way.
All right, which brings us to the heart of the matter. Dana White alluded to it a moment ago. Monday, the new president's first full business day in power began with a meeting with executives, and then Donald Trump met with leaders of construction industry unions, many of whom, Dan Mitchell, came out heaping praise on Trump. What do you think of that?
Well, the union movement in the United States is really two different bodies. You have the government workers who don't really have much of an incentive for there to be a strong private sector. They don't care. They have these sort of guaranteed, very well-paid government jobs. But private sector unions have been shrinking over time, in part just because the economy during the Obama years has been relatively stagnant, only 2% growth, which is way lower than what we're used to in the United States. And what Trump is telling these union bosses is, we're going to get the private economy growing again. You have a stake in that. And if Trump can do that successfully, and this is where he has this political cunning that none of us gave him credit for, he could actually take those blue-collar workers, those union workers, out of the Democratic camp and put them in the Republican camp simply by telling them, my policies will create good private sector jobs.
And is he right?
I think he's absolutely right. I think Donald Trump has really rewritten the playbook for everyone.
Dan Mitchell?
I'm still agnostic on that issue, because if Trump goes ahead with some $1 trillion government infrastructure plan, that's sort of the same policy Obama had. It didn't work for Obama. That's the same kind of Keynesian stimulus that Japan has tried for the last 25 years. It hasn't worked. So that part of Trump I don't like. On the other hand, if Trump says we're going to cut the corporate tax rate to 15%, we're going to cut a lot of wasteful spending, we're going to allow, get the EPA from over-regulating the private businesses so much, then I do like that. But at this point in time, I have no idea which Donald Trump we're going to see. Maybe we'll see both of them. So it'll be a roller coaster. I'll be happy one day and then sad the next day.